It's Dr. Memari again. One of the sections from experiment 2, it was left out. I didn't finish it during my recording last time. I forgot about it, and because we did 2 parts of experiment with the copper sulfate. One was copper sulfate pentahydrate. We had to heat up and add drops of water, if you remember. This one was copper sulfate silicon dioxide. I'm going to show you how it looks like. It's a mixture of the two, and we are supposed to separate it. Because both of them are solid and they are grains in the solid phase, we cannot simply separate them by any other means, but we can use the physical property of the two or difference in physical property and try to separate it. If we know that silicon dioxide, which is basically sand, it doesn't dissolve in water, but copper sulfate dissolves in water, can take some of this in place in a beaker, add water to it, and when I add water, copper sulfate goes into solution and silicon dioxide stays in solid form and it settles down. So in water, I have the copper sulfate, which gives me a blue color solution. And we saw that copper sulfate, it dissolves in water. Silicon dioxide, which is the sand, stays out of the solution as a precipitate. Now we can set up the simple or gravity filtration and filter the mixture. When we filter the mixture, this is the second method of separation of solid from liquid. One is decanting, the other one is filtration. We are using the filtration in this case because we want to keep the sand separate. The portion that it goes down as a filtrate, it can be vaporized, and if we vaporize the water, then we get the blue color powder as the solid to recover. This experiment doesn't ask for that part to be separated, to recover the solid copper sulfate. It's just saying to separate the two, and we are going to show how we can separate the two. For gravity filtration, we need a glass funnel. We need a filter paper, large filter paper. We fold in half, and we fold in half again one more time. We are going to open one part to one side and 3 parts to the other side. Basically, we're making like a paper funnel. When we make the paper funnel, we place it inside the glass funnel. See, it's moving around. If I add a couple drops of deionized water, it's going to make it stay still. Now, the level of the receiving container that I have, it should be below the tip of the funnel, or just below. The tip of the funnel should be just below the level of the beaker. Because if it's much higher, see what happens. It can go around, it can spill out, splash. But when it's inside, it gives you a warning. See, it gives me a warning. If I touch it, if it moves around, it gives me a warning and it stays there. We are going to pour the mixture of the solid and the liquid through and wait for the filter to pass through the filter paper, but the solid would stay on the filter paper. This was the method to separate. So basically, every day you learn about new techniques. When I want to get the solid into the filter paper, I just have to mix it, stir it, so it becomes like more movable, and then pour. Otherwise, it will stay in the beaker. It doesn't go into the filter paper. So what is left in the beaker, it needs to be transferred, and I'm going to use water or deionized water in order to transfer it. So I add water, transfer. Because sand is heavy, it's going to take more number of portions of water to transfer. until I make sure there is no more sand left in the beaker. Now we have separated the copper sulfate from silicon dioxide. Silicon dioxide stays on the filter paper, as I said, and the copper sulfate, it goes down in a solution form. I do have a watch glass here, which I'm going to open the filter paper for you just to see it when all the water is drained. Okay, I'm going to open it for you to see, and I'm going to spread it on the watch glass so you could see the sand that was recovered. There is no blue color mix here, it's just the silicon dioxide. And the copper sulfate, which had the blue color, it went to filter it. Just a second part of experiment 2, or one minor part of experiment 2 that was not recorded. Now it's going to be added to or posted separately.